Okay, read the note that's on your desk and let's knock this out. It's going to be pretty much the rest of your week is going to be practicing this stuff and refining it and doing it correctly. And this first packet says number line on it. So that's what we have. I did set up the number line on all of those, so we won't have to worry about that step. And here's the first problem. X plus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 20. So the number line is there. And there are no parentheses, and there's only one X allowed. And there it is. It needs a 1 in front of it. Okay. And so that's the only X. We can dot and circle him. Okay. Staple got in the way there. Now, let's decide if the sign's going to have to switch. Well, if that dot number's a negative, it'll switch because I'm going to have to divide both sides by negative. But if the dot number's positive, we don't switch because that's dividing both sides by a positive. So, it's a positive, so that's not going to switch. And I just go from there. Add or subtract if there's anything outside. There's a plus 4 outside. So, minus 4. Minus 4. So now it says 1 dot x is greater than or equal to negative 20 minus 4 is negative 24. Okay, then let's divide. Even though it's a 1, it's not really going to change it, but let's just get through that process. Those cancel. And when I divide, I'm ready to go down here. So that's x, and then negative 24 divided by 1 is negative 24. Okay, so the critical number is negative 24. I'm going to circle. And I'm going to want to fill that in. And remember, the nose points that way, so it's going to be going this way. Okay, my next problem. Number line's there. There is no parentheses. There's only one X that's going to be allowed here. Okay, and it has a negative 3 in front of it, so I can dot that because that's the only one. So let's dot and circle it. Now, this time the dot number is a negative. Okay, so since that's negative, let's turn that sign the other way. Okay, add or subtract if there's anything outside. Well, there's nothing outside. Okay, I'm not worried about this 30 because it's on the other side of the sign that's circled. There's nothing really out here. Okay, so we don't need to do that. Okay, we just really need to go divide by negative 3 to cancel. Negative 3. Okay, so now I'm dividing. I can go fill this out. 30 divided by negative 3 is negative 10. And the sign's there, but it switched because I divided both sides by negative, and then I just have x. Okay, now make sure the ordering's correct. This one, it's actually incorrect order, okay? So, if it's in incorrect order, I know the x needs to come before negative 10 in the sentence, and then that switches back to greater than or equal to, okay? So this is what I'm going to want to graph. So negative 10 is your critical number. It's a cutoff point. It can be equal, so lines there. And then greater than will go this way. Okay, my next problem. Now, let's put this away because now I see a fraction. So let's put a fraction over here to match. And I'm going to write CMAD. That means cross, multiply, and divide. Now, before I do that, I need to decide if the sign's going to change. So, is a number underneath negative or positive? Underneath the x. It's positive, so that sign will not change. Okay, it'll stay the same. And then I multiply 2 times negative 3 and divide by 1. The answer is negative 6, but I'll show you how it's done on the calculator. Just so you can see. So again, we want to multiply 2 and negative 3, and then divide that by 1. It's going to be negative 6. Okay. Okay, so that's correct order. So negative 6, and you want to fill it in, and then this goes this way. It's correct order because the x was over here. Okay. All right, my next one, x divided by negative 6 is what that says underneath there. I know you can't see it very well because the copy machine didn't do a good job, and we're not going to look at the sheet. We're going to match a fraction, and again, that's cross, multiply, and divide. Now, before I do that, this time the number under the x is negative. So that means it switches because I'm actually multiplying both sides by a negative, even though that's not really how we do it. Okay. So I'll have the x here. Then to find the other number, we multiply, cross multiply and divide. So negative 6 times 30 divided by 1. I get a big answer. Okay. Negative 180. That's all right. That's correct order. So negative 180, the line's not there, so goes that direction. Okay, next problem. Number line's there. There are no parentheses. There's only one x. There it is. It has a negative 3 in front of it. And since that's the only x, let's dot it and circle it. Okay, now outside that, on that side, I've got plus 5, so I need to subtract 5 from both sides. Okay, so negative 3 dot x, and then the sign, and then negative 9 minus 5 is negative 14. Okay, and then of course it's time to divide, and that was a negative right there. So since I had a negative number in the circle, I kind of forgot about that. Okay, I dotted it, circle it, and that was a negative, so that sign's going to need to flip the other way. So I divide by negative 3. And so I have x, and I get kind of a nasty little decimal here. 4.6 repeating, that's okay. Just put a repeating bar over the 6, and yeah, you can graph that on the number line. 4.6 repeating. Circle our bars there, so let's fill it, and then this goes this way. Okay, now they get a little more complex as you move on. Number line's right there. No parentheses allowed. I don't have any there. Only one x is allowed, but I seem to have two of them. I have a 3x and a 2x. Remember how we handle that. If they're on the same side, we draw the pyramid and add. If they're on opposite sides, we're going to switch the right to its opposite. So here's my sign, and it looks like they're together on the same side. So same side, draw a pyramid and add. Okay. Okay, 3 plus 2 is 5, so 5x, and then let's go cross those x's off, and then minus 4. You guys, I had a question yesterday. You can either write minus 4 plus negative 4. It doesn't matter, okay? Minus 4, and then my sign, and then 16. Okay, now let's dot and circle our x, the only one we have now, because I see that that's positive, so then the sign will not change direction, okay? Outside that, we have minus 4, so we'll add 4 to both sides. 5 dot x greater than or equal to 20. And now it is time to divide. Okay, so I've got x and 4. Okay, so positive 4 is critical. You want to shade that in, and then it would go this way. Okay, next problem. 5 plus negative 2x is greater than or equal to 2x plus negative 15. Okay, number line's there. There is no parentheses. There's only going to be one x allowed, but we have two of them. So are they on the same side or are they on opposite sides? Okay. Well, it looks to me like now they're on opposite. So let's switch the one on the right to its opposite. So it's 2x minus 2x, and then I just go to the other side and put that same thing under the x. Okay, so I've got 5. And then we're going to take negative 2 minus 2. That's negative 4, so plus negative 4x. Got your sign, and then negative 15, okay? Okay, now let's dot and circle our x, since there's only one now. And in front of that multiplier is a negative, negative 4. So that sign is going to turn around. Okay, now I have a lot of people that tend to get confused. They say add or subtract, there's a number outside. Now, there is something outside, but it's not. I don't worry about that. That's on the other side, so don't plus 15. It's the 5 you need to get rid of. So I have minus 5. Minus 5. So I've got negative 4 dot x, the sign, and that is negative 20, negative 15 minus 5. Okay, and now it's time to divide. And I've got x, sign has changed because I'm dividing by a negative at this point, and negative 20 divided by negative 4 is 5. Okay, so 5 is a critical number. We want to fill him in, and the line's there, so he will be going that way. Okay, now the next one, there's 2 signs circled. So on the number lines there's no parentheses, only one x is allowed, so let's dot him up. And decide if the signs are going to switch. So we have a negative in that circle, so we're going to switch both signs, okay? And remember, I need x in the middle of the signs all by itself, nothing else in there. So outside we got this plus 4, okay? Remember, I'm not going to worry about here, okay? I'm going to cover this and this up. So I minus 4. And then I would minus 4 under the negative 18 and under the 6. Okay. So now let's see what we have. Negative 18 minus 4. That's negative 22. Got the sign. Got negative 2 dot x. Got another sign. And then I've got 2. Okay, now back to the middle. So negative 2, I would want to divide then by negative 2. And then all I do is divide the negative 22 by negative 2 and the 2 by negative 2. Okay, that's going to be positive 11. And then I have the x, the sign, but it changed because I'm dividing by negative. Then x by itself, and then negative 1. Okay, so my critical numbers are positive 11 and negative 1. Okay, they both have lines. You want to circle both of them. And connect the. Okay, now graphing. Now on this one you do have some practice to do at the end. Read my little note about when you can start that. Okay, I actually wrote the thing right this time. You don't need to change it. X and Y on opposite sides, slope y-intercept, they're on the same side. It's the double zeros. Okay, and in each one I've made a space for you to run a test as soon as you got the line. Now one thing I want to do, can you put an equal sign right there? Just put the bar. Now if you're wondering why are you doing that, so then I can just draw a straight full line. I don't want to worry about, if you don't have the line under there, you have to do what's called a dash line. I don't want to worry about that right now. I might get to it eventually, but I want to just pretend it's less than or equal. Okay, we're always going to have a bar here. Okay, so here's y and here's x. Well, appears to me they're on opposite sides. So I would want to go with the slope and the y-intercept to graph it. Okay, so my slope is 5, and that needs to be a 1 under it. And my y-intercept, there's a 4 being subtracted, so negative 4. Now let's graph the y-intercept first. We go down because it's negative. It's either up or down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, I use this point. From this point, I'm going to circle it when I do my slope. So it's up or down and then right. So this would be up and this would be right. So I go over here. I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 to the right. Okay. So make your line full line because I put the little bar there. Okay, now we got to run a true false. Remember, this I've got points on this side, points on this side. One side has all the points that make it true. The other point has all points making it false. So my favorite point to pick is in the middle, and at that point x is 0, y is 0. So I come up here. Y has nothing in front of it. That's just 0. And then the x has a 5, so it's going to be 5 and 0. So I've got 0. I've got the sign. I've got 5 parentheses 0 minus 4. Now that's the side we need to cross out. So 5 parentheses 0 minus 4. Okay, I got negative 4 out of that. Okay, so what's bigger, 0 or negative 4? Well, negative 4 is smaller, and the nose should point towards the smaller number, and it doesn't, okay? So that is false. So I put F, and on the other side is true, okay? Please put both f and t. I want to see those on the graph. Okay, my next problem, here's x and here's y. This time they are on the same side. Okay. Okay, so I want to make a table with the double zero. So write that out twice. 3x minus 5y. Just put equals. You look like a Gomer if you try to put it greater than. Just put an equals like you're comfortable with. That's not a request. I'm kind of demanding. When we're writing it out twice, we change that to just a regular equals. Okay, so if x is 0, let's take that out because 3 times 0 is 0, and then I've dot, and then I just need to divide. Okay, so 30 divided by negative 5 is negative 6, and if y is 0, we can cross out 5y, dot that. And that is 10, okay? Now remember the direction to go. X is this way, so that's going to be ST for stay, and 10 would be to the right because it's positive. This is vertical, so that would be down, and that would be stay. Okay, so I start in the middle, I stay and go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now when you see a table, you have to restart from the middle. So 10, 0. Okay, we better count by 2's here. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 1 won't be enough. Okay, so make a line. And now it's time to do my true-false test. So x equals 0, y equals 0. Okay, so let's remove both of these. Okay, 0, 0. Okay, and then 3 parentheses 0 minus 5 parentheses 0 is greater than or equal to 30. Okay, now 3 times 0 minus 5 times 0 is 0. Okay. Cross that out, put 0. Now 0 is smaller, okay? The nose should point towards 0, but again it doesn't, so that is false, okay? So that point's false. That means any other point over here on this side of the line I made is false. This is like the line separating the true and false. Anything on this side of the line is true for x and y, coordinate point. Okay, next problem. This one we only have x, okay? So only x. So we can just put whatever. We'll put 1, 2, 3 in for y. And the x is going to be constantly at negative 3. So remember, x is this way. So left, because it's negative. It's positive, it's right. Negative left. 0 stay. Up or down. So they're all up. And negative 3, 1. So I go left 3, up 1. And then back to the middle, I go left 3, up 2, back to the middle, left 3, up 3. The only time you don't go back to the middle is when you use a slope. Okay, put a line there. I want that line to be there. Okay, it should have been there. Because I don't want you guys worrying today if it's equal to. Okay, so the line's there, so make a solve. Again, if that bar's not there, it's got to be like a dash line, and that takes about a 10-minute explanation. I want you guys just to get familiar with the process. Okay, so true or false? Well, here's my favorite point to pick for that. It's easy, okay? So there's no y, just x, nothing in front of it. I put 0. So I've got 0. I've got the sign. I've got negative 3, and I pretty much am set to decide. Negative 3 is smaller, and the nose finally does point towards the correct number, so that's true. So this side's true, and here's my line. Go to the other side, that's false. That's a terrible looking F. Okay, my next one, y is less than or equal to 3/5 x minus 4. Okay. And the y and x are both here, but this time they're on opposite. Okay. So the best way to graph a line, if the x and y are on opposite sides, is to use, especially if the y is by itself, is to use my slope and y-intercept. Okay, so my slope is 3 over 5, and the y-intercept, there's a 4 being subtracted, so it's negative 4. So I'm going to go down 4. So stay 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to circle that because when I use my slope, I want to go from that point. And then this number's vertical, so it'll be up, and that number's always to the right. Okay, so from here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, time to do the true-false test. So here's my middle point. X is 0, y is 0. And y can just be scribbled out, and we can put a 0 where it was at. And the x, let's parenthesize that because there's a 3/5 multiplied by the x, so 0. So I've got 0, the sign, 3/5 times 0 minus 4. Now, if I put a big calculator on your desk, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice here, okay? Okay, that's negative 4. Okay, if you have a big calculator, okay, I would just, anything times 0 is 0. It doesn't matter if it's a fraction, okay? Think about it. And then 0 minus 4 is negative 4, okay? So, really, if you're like, well, I don't know how to do fraction on that one, you don't really have to know how that much, okay? I mean, you're multiplying a fraction times 0. That means it's out, and you're just going to have what's over here, what's left. Okay, negative 4 is smaller. No should go that way. It does not, so that is false. So F, anything past this point is false. Any point on that side is true. It's a true statement. Okay, and this is how graphs would be using this when you have both two letters and you're trying to separate the trues from the falses. Okay. So, next one. Here's the y, here's the x, opposite sides. So that would be using the slope and the y-intercept. Slope is negative 2/5, and the y-intercept's positive 3. So I'm going to go up because we got a positive, straight up. And I'm going to circle that because I know my slope will give me a point out here. Okay, now remember, it's up or down. This one would be down, okay? And I'm still going to the right. Even though I'm going down, I'm still going to the right because that bottom number is always a positive. Okay, so I go down 2 and write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, favorite point to pick is 0 and 0. Okay, so y is out of there. Put 0 in. And then parenthesize your x and put 0. So I've got 0, negative 2/5, 0, and then plus 3. Okay, punch that in. But the people who, with those big calculators, remember, anything times 0 is 0. And then if I add 3, it's 3. So it's really just 3, whatever's left right here. Okay. All right, so 0 smaller, no should go that way. It does not, so that is a falser. So false. And then look at your line. Anything on that side of the line is false. Any point on the other side is true. Okay, next one. 4x minus 2y is greater than 16. Okay, this time x and y are on the same side. So since they're on the same, the best way to graph it is with the double 0. I'm going to give myself some room so I can write this out twice. 4x minus 2y, and by the way, put the line. I want a line under there, okay? But instead of greater than, just put regular equals, okay? It looks really awkward, and it leads to more confusing. It leads to more confusion than is needed, okay? X is 0, and here y is 0. Okay, so I dot my negative 2x, and I'll divide. Okay, 16 divided by negative 2 is negative 8, and then divide. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So remember, x is this way, so stay and go to the right. Y is up or down, so that'd be down and stay. Okay, so I stay right, left, go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. and then 4, 0. I go right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and stay. Okay, so I make my line, solid full line. That's why I'm always putting the bar there. And my favorite point to test is the 0, 0. Now, the only time you can't use that is if the line actually goes through there, okay, which we haven't seen yet. Okay, well, you worry about that when and if the time comes. So 0, and y has a 2 in front of it, so 0. So line that up. You got 4 parentheses 0 minus 2 parentheses 0. Got the sign, and then 16. So I got 16 by itself here. Let's eliminate that crap. And 4 times 0 minus 2 times 0. Remember, if you times anything by 0, it's 0. So the whole side is 0. Okay, 16's 0 smaller, and the nose should point towards 0. It does not, so it's false. Getting a lot of falses here. So F, the other side's true. Okay. Okay, next, appears I only have y, so this is only y. So, what do I do when there's only y? Well, how about put 1, 2, 3 for x? And then y will constantly be the negative 4. It's always the same. Okay, so these are all positives because when you go 1, 2, 3, so they're all to the right. And then y, depending on if it's negative or positive, goes up or down. But these are all negatives, so they'll all be down. Okay, so I go right 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4. I go right 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I go right 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And make your line. Straight horizontal. So here's my 0, 0. Okay, all you have is a y, nothing in front of it. We just put 0. So now I pretty much have my sentence ready. 0, the sign, and negative 4. Okay, that smaller number, nose needs to point towards that. It does not. Okay, it's false. Go to the other side, that's true. All right, next one. Here's y, here's x. And they're on opposite sides, so I want to go with my slope and y-intercept method. Negative 3 is the slope. Put a 1 under it because it needs to be in fraction form to really understand where the slope takes you. And then positive 3. Okay, so positive 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and remember, I circle that because whenever I see, oh, slope, I go from this. I don't go back to the middle. I go down and to the right. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, right 1. And by the way, I want to see the line there. Okay, you're like, why do you put that there? Because I don't want it to not have one in case something total different happens if there's not a line. And it takes a long while to explain, more time than we have in this class period. Okay, so x equals 0, y equals 0. So here's y, nothing against it. Here's x, there's something up against that, so put 0. So I've got 0. I've got the sign, negative 3 times 0, and then plus 3. Okay, let's plug that in. Negative 3, parentheses 0, or times 0 if you got the other kind of calculator, plus 3 is 3. Okay, 0 is smaller, and finally the sign does point towards the correct number, so that's true. So this point I've circled here, that's true. The other side is false. Okay, so any point over here is true. Here's my dividing line. Over there is false. Okay, you got 4 to do.